The low-level conflict between India and Pakistan has hit the economies of both countries. Markets are jittery, flights have been cancelled, and the lucrative IPL has suspended cricket matches for a week. Let's take a closer look at the impact of the violence between these nuclear neighbours. Pakistan's economy was already in big trouble. Now, the global ratings agency Moody's warns that if tensions with India keep rising, it could set back its chances of getting its economy back on track. Moody's expects growth to slow, making it harder for the government to stabilise the economy. Amid this backdrop of regional friction, diplomatic efforts are underway elsewhere. Pakistan and the United States have reportedly held high-level trade discussions, with both sides expressing a commitment to strengthen their economic partnership. Turning to the financial markets, India's benchmark stock index took a hit on Friday after the army reported overnight drone and munition attacks by Pakistani forces. Both the Nifty and Sensex dropped by more than 1%. The ripple effects of these geopolitical tensions are being felt in the global energy markets. While no direct threats to oil production or supply routes have been reported, analysts link the rebound in prices to regional instability concerns. In response, Indian Oil Corporation Limited insisted on Friday that it has enough fuel stocks nationwide and its operations are running smoothly. Now, one of the largest sources of revenue for India and Pakistan comes through backdoor trade, where goods are rerouted via third countries. It generates billions of dollars for both economies, but a recent Indian ban on Pakistani imports may threaten this. Emre Boz has more.
Backdoor trade, also known as indirect or roundabout trade, involves exchanging goods between two countries through third-party nations. It bypasses direct trade restrictions, high tariffs, or political barriers. For India and Pakistan, goods are routed through countries like Dubai, Singapore, Sri Lanka, or Afghanistan. For example, Pakistani textiles may be shipped to Dubai, relabeled, and then exported to India. According to the Global Trade and Research Initiative, backdoor trade generates $10 billion a year for both countries combined. Direct trade declined due to events like the 2019 Pulwama attack, after which India imposed a 200% tariff on Pakistan. Between April 2024 and January 2025, direct trade fell to just $0.42 million. But now, this latest incident, the attack in Indian-administered Kashmir, threatens this unofficial trade relationship. India blames Pakistan, saying it's banning all direct and indirect imports from the country.
I congratulate our Prime Minister. The day before yesterday, we appealed that all trade with Pakistan, whether direct or indirect through Dubai, must be suspended.
No country should buy goods from Pakistan. Pakistan uses the money it earns from us to generate militancy, which in turn harms us. We do not accept it. No goods from Pakistan should be imported to our Jammu or the rest of India.
Pakistan has already retaliated, banning imports from Indian origin goods either directly from India or via third countries. The government says the move is to protect the country's national security and public interests.
Pakistan's airspace will be closed with immediate effect for all Indian-owned or Indian-operated airlines. All trade with India, including to and from any third country, through Pakistan is suspended forthwith.
As tensions escalate, this once profitable trade may come to a halt. Emre Boz, TRT World.
For more on this, we're joined by Osama Rizvi in Lahore. He's an energy and economic analyst at Primary Vision. Now, Osama, tensions have been escalating since the last time we spoke. How big of an impact has this had on both nations?
Well, if we talk about the psychological and political and diplomatic impact, it's really, you cannot really quantify this. But if you're talking about the economy, I know that most of the analysis is surrounded around Pakistan's economy, because we have been going through some sort of economic crisis. But it is also important to highlight that while India's economy is many size more that of Pakistan, it also assumes a tantamount amount of losses as well. For instance, if there is an all-out war, the everyday expenditure for Pakistan would be somewhere around $250 million and $670 million for India. If we talk about water the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, it would cost around 200 million people in India to be malnutritioned, and similarly 40 million people in Pakistan. So essentially, it's a lose-lose for both of the countries, and nobody wins in such a war. And I hope that saner heads prevail.
Right, and let's talk about this $10 billion backdoor trade economy between the two nations. How significant is the threat of banning indirect and direct imports from Pakistan?
Well, to provide a little bit of context, back in 2019, India already revoked Pakistan's MFN status, which has resulted into a fall of about, the official trade between both of the countries have fallen 50%, from $2.1 billion to $1.6 billion. And I personally look at this $10 billion figure in quite a suspicion, because I don't agree with it. However, the global mechanizations show us that the world right now is integrated in such a way that both the countries, and especially Pakistan, by the virtue of being connected with China and CPEC, it has lots of optionality. And we have seen this precedent in the energy markets in the form of sanctions of Russia. And despite that, Russian crude oil still is in the sea, is still being imported and exported. So I believe it's not an all-end scenario for Pakistan. We have lots of options, and this, in fact, is an opportunity for us to pivot towards other partners such as Central Asia and Southeast Asia.
Right, and do such trade bans achieve national security goals, or do they just end up hurting small businesses and consumers on both sides?
Well, from a purely economic point of view, we see that trade is like water. It always finds its way. So such trade bans are never fruitful. And as always is the case, even in a trade war or a military war, the consumers and the common man suffers. And I think that is a good enough reason for all sides to stop this escalation and head towards some sort of settlement.
And what role do international trade organisations play in mediating or addressing challenges posed by such trade restrictions?
Well, interestingly, there has been quite a few comments recently, and JD Vance's comment today that this will none of their business, quote unquote, is a little concerning given the fact that the US plays the role of the policeman of the world. But China, UK, and other countries have always expressed their support, and they've asked that they're there to help in any sort of mediation. And I believe that this will happen soon, inshallah.
Right, and do you see a de-escalation anytime soon?
I think so. I think so, because otherwise there is no end to it. I mean, the global economic order, the global diplomatic order, and overall conditions are not and never complementary to such an escalation. And I believe it will be in the best interest of both the parties that they stop the escalation and come on the table. And India takes back the unilateral suspension of Indus Water Treaty, and we both agree to principles governed by the international order, international rule-based order.
All right, Osama Rizvi from Primary Vision in Lahore, thank you very much for joining us.